Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to cover all things USB chargers and cables for your bike or in the wall. And we're going to go over what is the difference between this cable here, which took a little research to get. This cable here, which looks identical, that you can get at a convenience store when traveling, or Amazon. Stick around and we'll go over all the differences and what I learned and what blew my mind and why my stuff wasn't charging while riding. So something to note is this is a convenience store charger. It has, in theory, a 1.0 amp, which would be typical for just a phone, and a 2.1. This is a reputable brand, Anker, with 39 watts, as they say on the website, of output, and their what's called Power IQ system. And I believe that has to do with Power IQ capable devices will cross-talk to each other and allow a higher amperage throughput for charging. This is an Apple brand iPad charger. It is meant for the heavier draw of an iPad as opposed to a smartphone. And although it is completely certified and 2 amps of output, it also didn't quick charge or even charge my phone out of the wall properly. This is the Anker brand, same with this one here. This is the cigarette lighter version. This is the wall version. Cabling. This is the cable that came with this phone, and it is measured out at a 28 gauge. The gauge is very thin that's in here. I purchased this one. It is 24 gauges. I did the research. Very inexpensive, but it is a thicker charging wire on the inside. It will show less resistance between the two devices and, in theory, flow a lot more through. So we're going to see what the differences are with our handy-dandy USB voltage and amperage checker. Okay, so we're going to run an experiment. I have the phone here and the original cable that came with the phone. Then I have the thicker gauge, 24 gauge cable that came in the mail. I have another one here as well. I've made a little chart here, and we're going to start with the iPhone small. Okay, we patch it in. 0.27. And that is with the screen on. Okay, now let's go ahead and turn the screen off. 0.28, climbed just a little bit. Let's recycle again. .26. Okay. Set that aside. Now we'll go with the thicker gauged, the higher amperage iPhone or Apple brand. .41. Again, it triggers the screen on. Turn the screen off. Recycle. Beep. No change. 0.41. Okay. So higher than 2.7. So thin, 0.27, and this one here, 0.41. Then we'll go to the quick charge. 0.4 with the screen on. Let's go ahead and turn the screen off with it off. Now let's change to the thicker gauge cable. This one was also 0.41-ish. Okay. Now we will go to the thicker cable on the iPad. 0.40. Again, now let's ramp it up to, I'm going to turn off the screen and cycle it. 0.41, 0.40. Okay, with the thick gauge and the iPad, 0.40. Let's just jump to the very end and get to the knuckle of the whole thing. Hook up the anchor, power it up. Boom, now we're talking 0.74 with the anchor and the thick gauge, 0.74. Now, here's the clincher. I want you to watch this when I shut the screen off. Boom. 2.0, 1.99. So the communication between this phone and this anchor charger with the screen off from 0.73, 0.74 all the way to almost 2 amps. That's over double just between the communication of this thicker cable and this anchor charger. There's the proof in the pudding right there, folks. Now we're going to go try it on the 12-volt DC on the bike and see what we get. I'm using the thicker gauge cable with the cheap convenience store power supply in the heavier gauge, the 2 amp, the supposed 2 amp output. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on the bike. And I'm going to take us in here, and you see that it says 2 amp of draw. Oh, and it just kicked down to 7.6. Now, if I turn off the screen is off, and come down here, and you will see that that went right up to 1.95. That is considerably higher than using the other cable. Now, just for the crikeys of it, we're going to move the whole adapter over to this piece, which is 2 5-volt 2.1s. And we can see that it's 0.76, which is almost double what it was before with the screen on full bright. Turn the screen. I just turned the screen off. And we'll see that this kicked all the way up to 1.79. So I'm going to pull that out, put in the Anchor brand QC charger right here. This is the new QC charger. 0.74, again, still very high. And it should just ramp right up. Let's cycle it. Oh, there it was. Yeah, 2.4. So the Anchor charger from 1.7 to 2.4, that's incredibly different results than I was getting before. So I have confidence that this will now charge, and what we've taken away from this, folks, is that a thicker gauge cable and a quality charger means everything. And I hope that answers some questions. And if you're going to go buy chargers somewhere, look in the links below, and I'll have the shortcuts to Amazon for you.